Hey there, chatters. I'm Nat.
And I'm Kat, and welcome to the Crime Chat. I am your forensic femme fatale. Natalie is your true crime addict connoisseur, and we are ghost specialists today.
Yes, we are.
Can't wait.
And we're just two normal girls, obsessed about dark crimes, evil minds, and occasionally the unknown, which we'll be going over today.
That's right. I am so excited. I'm so excited for the story. I don't know what it's about, but when you told me to write the intro that I wrote, I was like, I can't wait. I can't wait. Maybe we'll have a cameo appearance from Stanley.
Oh, I know. When I asked her, I'm like, she's going to love this because she has personal experience with this subject. Like, you've done this before.
Well, sort of. I'm a novice, as with most things. Oh, the following crime chat contains adult content and descriptions of potentially violent, spooky scenarios today. So your listener discretion is advised.
Yes, you've been warned. And before we get into today's crime chat, Kat, what have you done?
So I did watch the first 2 episodes of season 4, Only Murders in the Building.
Right.
So good.
It is good.
So good.
It's that good.
And Zach Galifianakis, Snuffleupagus, is
I love
on
him.
it.
He's so funny.
Eugene Levy is on this season. Eva Longoria.
Okay.
So it's like a star-studded
Wow.
cast. I mean, Steve Martin and Martin Short, anyways. And I saw a article with Selena Gomez that basically says, like, she just won an award for Only Murders in the Building. She's also like a self-proclaimed like billionaire from her makeup line. She's obviously extremely successful with music,
right,
and acting, and now with her beauty line. The world is her oyster. Yeah. So you go, girl. And she's great. Like, she's great in
very talented singer, actor. So. She's very talented.
Yeah, get to watch in season 3. Your homework, so we can talk about it. But that's okay because Hulu's only releasing.
Okay.
So today is Tuesday. So episode 3 for season 4 comes out tonight. It's probably already on there, but. So I did watch the first 2 episodes, and as I was watching them, Chris was like, I thought we were going to watch this. And I was like, dude, I've watched it. Catch up. So when we try to watch things that we both want to watch together. I had already seen all the way up through season 3, and he's like, oh, I wanted to watch that. And I was like, dude, let's watch it and start it over. You know what we started over?
What?
Grimm.
Oh, that's a good show. Yeah.
I mean, it's like our 4th time starting it over, but that's fine. He likes to watch those things. He likes to watch things, the same shows over, which is fine. I like Grimm. It's great. Yeah. The other thing I started watching since I was like, okay, he doesn't want me to watch Only Murders in the Building. Let me find something else that we haven't talked about that is interesting to me. It's also on Hulu. It's called Death and Other Details. It's a series, and I remember it came out either earlier this year or last year. I can't remember. It's fairly new.
Right.
And I've only seen the first episode. I really like it. I'm invested. I'm interested. Basically, this young girl, her mother is killed in a car explosion that she witnessed. And it was outside of her best friend's house. Her best friend's parents were millionaires at the time. So her best friend's parents, after her mother dies, takes her in, and she's like born in, or like raised in this family. Well, the family hires think of, what's his name? Hercule Poirot?
Like a detective?
A detective, yeah. And he apparently, this world-renowned, detective and everything. Fast forward 20 years, they meet again, and there's a lot of, like, animosity because apparently he left and didn't finish the case into her mother's death. She was only, like, 10, 11 years old at the time. Now they're literally on the same cruise liner, and it's like a privately owned cruise with only like known people because it's her best friend's parents who are doing this. Anyway, somebody's murdered on the ship, so now these two have to like partner up and kind of try to figure it out. So it's interesting. That's it. That's all for me. What about you?
I don't know if you can see, but I have paint in my hair.
Oh,
so I help paint a room. I think I told you once before that I watched this movie Skinamarink.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw it yet.
No.
Okay. I don't know if I recommend the movie because it is a weird watch.
Yeah. Like you said, it like focused on the kids like a little too long where it was like super uncomfortable. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
I saw something on YouTube about like a deep dive in what influenced Skinamarink and what it's truly about. And I found it to be so interesting that I rewatched the movie. Now that I had that information, like I was watching it from a different perspective and I'm like, oh my God, this makes so much sense now. So there are two kids that are in the movie. The entire movie, you're following these kids around this dark house and some scary, spooky stuff is happening. Suddenly, you know, the sister's gone. Things are fading away like doors. The parents, the pictures are getting blurry. There's so many weird things happening and it's very easy to say, oh, there's a monster in the house.
Yeah.
You know, something supernatural like that. But what it's truly about is, so in the beginning of the movie, you hear the father on the phone speaking to the wife saying, Kevin fell down. He hurt his, you know, he got hurt. He hit his head hard, but he's okay. And that's it. It turns out that Kevin wasn't okay. Kevin was still alive, but Kevin was in a coma.
I was gonna say that. It was like his subconscious.
Yes. The entire movie was him in a coma. When there were things fading in and out, it was his actual memory fading away.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Of what his sister's face looked like. And it just gives me the creeps now.
Yeah.
That's all I did, basically.
Well, for your story today, we kind of already teased a little bit. It's a little supernatural, a little bit of the unknown, a little bit of the spooky ooky.
Yeah.
So you asked me to write an introduction on ghosts or like spirits, like, and I got some stuff I think you'll like. Hopefully it helps get into your story.
Okay.
So a ghost, also known as a specter, is defined as the soul of a dead person living in an unseen world or capable of returning to the living world. The term originated in Germanic etymology, which was morphed. There was a lot of like different translations and meanings and like related. I didn't really get into it, but it morphed from a bunch of different things, and it developed into the Old English term Gast, G-A-S-T, Gast, ghost. But the original meaning was soul or spirit. But it wasn't until the 14th century, in the Middle English era, that the dead was considered to have appeared or be in a physical form. Before, it was more spiritual and not seen. But it wasn't until the 14th century that it started, at least be recorded, to have some sort of physical form. According to descriptions or depictions provided by believers, a ghost may appear as a living being or as a nebulous, cloudy/hazy. I had to look up nebulous. I don't have a very big dictionary. But a like hazy likeness, like a cloud, like what you would see as some sort of like form of the deceased person, or occasionally also in other forms. Beliefs in ghosts are based on the ancient notion that a human spirit is separable from the body and may maintain its existence after the body's death. While deceased ancestors are universally regarded with a great deal of respect, like you honor your ancestors and everything like that, also often believed to have a continued presence form of an afterlife, the spirit of a deceased person that persists in the material world as a ghost is regarded as an unnatural or undesirable state of affairs, and the idea of ghosts or revenants are merely associated with a reaction to fear. You know, scientifically, or some people are saying that it's just a reaction to fear and you're imagining these things.
Okay.
Now, in many cultures, malignant, restless ghosts are distinguished from the more benign spirits. In many societies, funeral rituals are believed to prevent the ghost from haunting the living. In many traditional accounts, ghosts were often thought to be deceased people looking for vengeance, or vengeful ghosts, or revenants is another term for it, or that they were imprisoned on earth for the bad things they did during their life. The appearance of a ghost has often been regarded as an omen of death as well. I hope not. Stanley, you're my friendly ghost here. Another widespread belief concerning ghosts is that they are composed of a misty, airy, or subtle material. Anthropologists link this idea to early beliefs that ghosts were the person within the person or that person's spirit, most noticeable in ancient cultures as the person's breath. So exhaling cooler climates, it would appear visibly white.
Okay.
A place where ghosts are reported is described as haunted and often seen as being inhabited by spirits of deceased who may have been former residents or were familiar with the property. Individuals who are thought to be associated by the haunted spirit are believed to be responsible for or associated with the ghost's unhappy experience. So they're coming back to haunt them.
Okay.
Now, traditional visual manifestations of a haunting include ghostly apparitions, the displacement of objects, or the appearance of strange lights. Auditory signs also include disembodied laughter and screams, footsteps, ringing bells, and the spontaneous emanation of sounds from musical instruments. The only musical instruments, I have drumsticks. I don't have any other musical instruments. So if my drumsticks were to get up and start going,
right.
Yeah, no.
There'd be a problem.
Now I get whispers. I get a
touches. Yeah, like whisper. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, supernatural activity inside homes is said to be mainly associated with violent or tragic events that happened in the building, such as a murder, accidental death, or suicide, sometimes in the recent or in the ancient past. So, wherever it happened, and it couldn't even be the same building anymore, It's just if it happened in that area. However, not all hauntings are at a place of a violent death or even on violent grounds. Many cultures and religions believe the essence of being, such as the soul, continues to exist. Some religious views argue that the spirits of those who have died have not actually passed over and are trapped inside the property where their memories or their energy is most strong. Now, ghost tales, ghost stories are prominent storytelling worldwide and have been for many, many, many years. These ghost stories are called ghost lore, and I had never heard of that before, but it's ghost folklore. It's called a ghost lore. They are often explicitly meant to be scary. They have been written to serve all sorts of purposes, from comedy to mortality tales. Ghosts often appear in the narrative as sentinels or prophets of things to come. Belief in ghosts is found in all cultures all around the world, and telling ghost stories may be passed down orally or in written form. The telling of elaborate grisly ghost stories often has a setting of darkness or a thunderstorm, spooky. This is a popular pastime, particularly among children, like sitting around and telling ghost stories. Remember, like, I don't know, you go out and go camping or like hanging out with your friends and it's really dark and you just, even as a kid, you did the Bloody Mary.
Yes.
The
Ouija.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board. All the things. Ghosts are thought to appear in many different forms. Here are a few of the most common types of ghosts that are found in ghost lore. 1. Vengeful ghosts. These are ghosts that are believed to have died under unjust or violent circumstances and seek revenge on the living. They are often associated with murder victims, soldiers killed in battle, or people who were just wronged in life. Number 2. Friendly ghost, aka Stanley, if that's his name. In contrast to vengeful ghosts, friendly ghosts are believed to be helpful or benevolent spirits that can offer protection or guidance to the living. These ghosts are often associated with deceased loved ones or ancestors who continue to watch over their families. Number 3, poltergeists. Poltergeists are ghosts that are believed to be responsible for physical disturbances in a home or other location, such as moving objects or loud noises. They are often depicted as mischievous or malevolent spirits. Number 4, ghosts of ancestors. In many cultures, it's believed that the spirits of deceased ancestors continue to play a role in the lives of their living descendants. These ghosts are often honored with offerings or prayers and are believed to provide guidance and protection to their families. Number 5, ghosts of children. The spirits of deceased children are often depicted as ghosts in many cultures and are sometimes believed to be especially potent or powerful. In some cases, they're seen as innocent and benevolent beings that bring good luck, while others are feared as vengeful or malevolent spirits. And number 6, ghostly animals.
Oh.
Yeah. In some cultures, it is believed that animals can also become ghosts. These ghosts are often associated with the spirits of the beloved pets or with animals that played an important role in a community's history or mythology. So now to find out if you have one of these ghosts and what kind you have.
Yes.
There is some modern technology that has been able to enhance the appearance or presence of apparitions. Ghost Tube. We've mentioned it before. We played with it before on the Crime Chat. Now, their mission is, quote, providing affordable, quality, and modern paranormal equipment for investigators and enthusiasts, end quote. They do have several apps available at no cost with some limitations up to like a full subscription with like their full capability. These include the GhostTube Original Paranormal app, It uses your cell phone's environmental sensors to measure fluctuations in the environment. For example, it uses your cell phone's environmental sensors to measure fluctuations in the environment. For example, if your phone has a magnetometer, it's used to measure magnetic fluctuations, which could also be triggered by an electromagnetic field or EMF, something many speculate could indicate the presence of a spirit. It also includes sound spectrum analyzer to assist in identifying electronic voice phenomenon, or EVP, and it offers a low light video filters to aid in video filming in dark places. All other apps really do that as well. Now, the Ghost Tube SLS. This is the stick figure. This app tests the theory that spirits can manifest into full-bodied apparitions and appear in digital video recordings or photographs. Structured Light Sensor, SLS. These cameras work by projecting an infrared laser grid over a field of view. By measuring the distance between the dots that are projected around the room, the camera can determine the depth and form of a 3D interpretation of the environment. However, not every trigger is necessarily paranormal in nature. SLS cameras are designed to look for people's shapes, so most figures captured can be explained.
Yeah.
And I noticed that too. Like, you can definitely tell, like, when you go over, you're like, oh, that kind of looks like a picture.
Yeah.
Exactly. The third one is the Ghost Tube Vox. It uses environmental sensors in your phone to detect changes in the environment similar to the original app. However, unlike the original app, GhostTube Vox selects sounds and phonetics when specific environmental signatures are detected. It does not come with any pre-recorded sounds, so all sounds that are generated or sourced are in real time. And we did that too. We did a little test of the Vox. Now, this is when specific magnetic signatures are detected using online digital radio. GhostTube Vox is a supplemental device to the traditional Spirit Box. The Spirit Box uses a radio transmitter for analog radio signals to generate sounds and white noise, whereas the Ghost Tube relies on the environmental sensors of your device to detect specific environmental signatures and generate sounds and white noise using digital online broadcasts. One other one is called Ghost Tube Seer, and this is pretty new. I haven't heard of it before. When I looked it up, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to try this out. This app combines the theories of spiritual communication and manipulation of environmental sensors with the human psyche, mind, and interpretation using the power of modern day artificial intelligence algorithms. It uses your mobile device, the actual sensors from your phone, to detect fluctuations in magnetic energy, selects words from a pre-populated word bank, and an advanced AI produces a unique generated visual based on the selected words. And there's some pictures that I'll post, but it looks pretty cool.
But is this on the same program? Like, if I go to GhostTube, there'll be now a new option for Seer?
GhostTube Seer, yeah. I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, I'm going to have to try that out. I just found out about it today, so I hope that helps. That's just a little bit of background in the history of our friends out there.
Thank you for that intro. Okay, I can't wait to try out GhostTube Seer.
Yeah.
Kat, are you ready for our crime chat today?
Yes, I'm on the edge.
Well, a 130-year-old case. It is a chilling true crime story that bridges the gap between the living and the dead. This is the tale of the Greenbrier ghost. You've never heard of this before?
Nope.
No? All right, good. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so in the late 19th century, Greenbrier County, West Virginia, is nestled deep within the rugged and isolated Appalachian Mountains. The people of Greenbrier were mostly farmers, coal miners, and blacksmiths, living in an unforgiving landscape. It was a community bound tightly by necessity, where people knew each other really, really well. Nobody had any secrets. And nestled right smack in the middle of this town was the Sam Black Church, which was the cornerstone of everything that went on, whether it be social, the networking. It all went through this church, I guess, back then.
I mean, that's what they did, yeah. Churches and community, it brings people together, then people kind of go out and build out from there.
So Elva Zona Hester, known simply as Zona. Zona was born, now the month and the day is unknown. This is how old this case is.
Right.
But the year, she was born in 1873. But even on her tombstone, there's no month or date.
Yeah,
there's only a year.
They did that then too, because, well, they didn't really keep records. Like, you know.
No birth certificate. There was no birth certificate.
Yeah.
So her parents, Mary Jane and Jacob, were hardworking farmers. They raised several children, 2 boys, Harold and Lenny, and Zona being the eldest. Mary Jane's relationship with Zona was deeply affectionate with a strong sense of protection. She showed Zona how to be independent, which was rare back then for women. And she had a very close bond with her daughter. Like, they were best friends. Zona helped her mother take care of the two younger children. She contributed to the daily chores. The Hester household was a place filled with the sounds of children's laughter and love. So it was a good family. Zona's early education took place in a one-room schoolhouse, typically of that era.
Usually in the church.
Where a single teacher taught lessons to all children of all ages. And they still this still happens today. I know a couple schools where you'll have like kindergarten sitting in the same room with a high schooler.
Yeah.
Zona was a bright student with a love for reading and writing. She loved organizing local stories and folklore, and she enjoyed sharing them, almost like the way the Grimm brothers did. Like she collected stories the neighbors would tell her. She was able to write them down, and then she would just, share them. As Zona grew into a young adult, her beauty and charm became widely recognized in the community. When Zona was 20, she attracted the attention of many men. Everybody wanted to marry her. But when a Mr. Edward Shue, a blacksmith, came into town one day, he did have a mysterious past, but he captured her heart. Like, she fell in love with him. Shue was handsome. He was tall. He had dark hair, dark eyes, and he was charismatic.
Ooh, tall, dark, and handsome.
Yes. I have a picture of him. I would say that.
Oh, you have a picture. Okay.
However, behind those dark eyes, there was a secret. Rumors about his life before he arrived in Greenbrier, and apparently he had been married twice before. Both marriages ended in tragic circumstances. Her mother, Mary Jane, met him, and she didn't like him. She didn't like him at all. So, and she was very vocal about her concerns, and she's like, he's not right for you. But Zona was smitten with Edward, and there was nothing that you could do at that point. And they got married in 1896. Mary Jane sensed a darkness in Edward. Unfortunately, she would later be right about all of this.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, good mama, but bad.
I know. After 3 months, Zona became ill for a couple of weeks. During this illness, she was under the care of a local doctor, Dr. J.M. Knapp. Edward seemed to be attentive, and he even hired a local 11-year-old boy named Anderson Jones to pass by the house to check on her and help with the chores or clean up the house, and then also tend to the animals that were on the property.
Okay.
However, on the morning of January 22nd, Edward went to the Anderson home, the Anderson Jones, and his home was literally located right next door. Asked Anderson, hey, could you go check on Zona a little bit earlier today? And Anderson said to him, like, I can't. You know what? I already made arrangements with the doctor down the road to help him with his livestock, so I'm going to be there all day, so I won't be able to get to your house. Edward, he's like, okay, fine. And he kind of left the house, and he was a little annoyed. He went to work. Within like an hour, went back to the Anderson home to ask the kid to go check on Zona. Now, why he didn't just go check on Zona himself is beyond me.
Because she was dead?
Yeah, basically.
And he knew it?
Yeah.
I mean,
he was setting that kid up,
Yes, exactly. Nope. I need you to go to my house next door.
Yes, right now.
Check on her.
So Edward actually left and went to Anderson's 4 times that day before the afternoon. Like in the morning, he went there 4 times to say, hey, go check on Zona. I need you to go check on Zona. And the kid finally agreed, and he went over to check on Zona. When Anderson arrived at the house is when he made the grisly discovery. He recounts this 70 years later. So now he does an initial statement that he made when he was 11, when this actually happened. But 70 years later, he made another statement about what he saw. And I'm going to read you that statement.
Ooh, yeah.
He stated, when I got to the house, I felt that something was wrong. All the doors were closed, and there was an eerie feeling about the place. When I got to the front steps, I looked down and saw a trail of blood. It scared me, but I got the courage, and I went to the door and I knocked. No one answered. There was nothing but silence. I turned the doorknob. It was unlocked, so I slowly opened the door and walked into the kitchen. As soon as I did, I stumbled over something. I hit the ground, and I realized I was on top of Miss Zona. She was stretched out on the floor, looking right back at me through wide open eyes. her face frozen, and she appeared to be laughing. I was scared to death.
Wow.
I know. Well, you know something? Like, he's also remembering it from an 11-year-old's eyes.
Yeah.
She probably wasn't smiling. She was dead. Obviously, she wasn't smiling.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
her face may have contorted into something based on how she died, so we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was scared to death, but he was still able to get up and then go to her and shake her a little bit. He said, when I touched her, she was cold and stiff. I bolted out of the house, running as fast as I could. I called across the field to Aunt Martha, screaming, Miss Zona is dead. Miss Zona is dead. Aunt Martha started to run back to the house to check, and then she ran out of the house and then started running over to the blacksmith's shop to tell Mr. Shu about his wife. When he heard, he yelled and he ran to the house with his boss. Dr. Knapp was called, but when the doctor arrived at the house, Mr. Shu had taken his wife from the floor and placed her on the bed, and he was holding her head in his arms, crying for her to come back. But the strangest thing of all, although nobody thought it at the time, was that he had already dressed Miss Zona in a long gown for her funeral, placing one of those old-fashioned high stiff collars around her neck with some type of scarf that wrapped around her neck, and then placed a napkin behind her head at the base of the nape of her neck. The doctor immediately started investigating to determine if Zona was still alive, and throughout his efforts to examine her, Mr. Shu continued to hold her head, refusing to let the doctor examine Miss Zona. The doctor felt awful for Edward. He felt that, oh my God, this man is lost his entire life. His wife is gone, and he was sympathetic to what he was going through. So the doctor just stated she died from everlasting faint, which is what they used to call a heart attack back then. Her heart just failed.
At 20-something years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, but yeah. No.
So that's basically what Anderson said 70 years later. Now,
Okay.
when Mary Jane heard that something happened to her daughter, her heart was shattered, and she immediately screamed out, "The devil killed her." Now, Edward's reaction to his wife's death was almost theatrical, and it immediately aroused suspicion, combined with the fact that Edward refused to allow anyone near the body the entire time, from the moment she died to the funeral up until he placed her in the coffin, so nobody touched her body other than Edward.
He must have had past experience.
You think? Yeah, he kind of knew what he was doing there.
Third time's a charm.
Well, this did not go unnoticed. First of all, Dr. Nat, what the hell are you doing? But anyway, so this definitely raised alarm bells in the community. So people were chatting a little bit more. The local doctor barely examined Zona, and the cause of death didn't make sense to Zona's mother, Mary Jane. She's like, my daughter is healthy. Like, there is just no way she just upped, like, at 20, had a heart attack. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Mary Jane withdrew into her faith. She was broken. She didn't know what else to do, so she just went and prayed every night for answers, trying to figure out why God took her daughter. Why did she have a heart attack? What happened to her daughter? Something didn't feel right.
Yeah.
About a month later, after praying every single night, one night she was kneeling by her bed, and she felt very strange. She felt the room get very cold. She felt it get still and dark, and then all of a sudden she looked up and she saw this swirling lights, like these, like you were just saying before.
A nebulous life form.
She saw the nebulous going around by the door. She said, from the shape emerged her daughter, Zona. Mary stated Zona opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something, and then immediately she vanished. Mary didn't know what to do. She figured, you know what, I'm going to pray harder, because obviously she felt at that point
that did something.
Prayer got her there.
Yeah.
She didn't leave the room. From that moment on, she prayed the entire day until the next night when it happened again. Zona appeared again. This time, Zona spoke. Zona uttered the words describing her home. Now, this is a little nugget, okay, because Mary had never been to the house. Mary was never invited to the house because remember, they were married for 3 months.
Yeah.
Her mom didn't know what the inside of that house looked like. Zona started going into detail about the interior of the house, and especially the basement and where the tools were located and stuff like that. Details that she would never have known. And then Zona disappeared again. The next night, Zona appeared for the third time. This time, Zona talked about her husband, that he was a violent man, and that he had beat his previous wives. Zona told her his second wife went missing and that he killed her. Mary begged Zona to tell her what happened to her, but Zona disappeared once again. The following night, Zona appeared. This time, Zona told her everything about what happened to her. She said, "Mama, I cleaned and cooked all day, waiting for Edward to come home from work. But when he got home, he was angry again. He started yelling at me, complaining that I didn't cook enough food for him or I didn't make enough meat. Then he got up in a fit of rage and charged me. He grabbed me by my face, both of his hands on either side of my neck, and then with a roll, he cracked my neck and dragged my body to the foot of the stairs and left me there." Zona continued, "Mom, I have something to show you." Zona spun her head completely around like the exorcist.
Oh, shit.
To prove to her mother that there was something wrong with her neck, and then looked straight at her mother saying, "There's something wrong," before she disappeared and she would never come back after that.
Yeah.
Oof. Mary Jane went to the local prosecutor. She told them the whole story about the 4 nights. They all thought she was seeing things due to her losing her daughter and being grief-stricken.
I can only imagine how a man back then would say, "Oh, it's just a woman being hysterical."
I'd be like, "Yeah, you're right. I am fucking hysterical. Now listen to me." So they just tried to push it off. But Mary started giving them details about the house. And everybody knew that Mary had not been to that house. Nobody's been to that house.
To the house, yeah.
She was saying things that she should have not known. Like little things, like where Edward kept the rake, the shovel, the axe. She just gave a complete description of what Zona told her. And then the doctor, Dr. Knapp, admitted, "I did not examine Zona before she was buried."
Malpractice.
Yeah. He said, "I was just so taken back by Edward's behavior because he was just so theatrical and so extra." I mean, he was grieving, but he said he was so extra.
Was he grieving, though?
Oh, no. So the prosecutor decided to exhume Zona's body for another autopsy after the doctor told him that, "Hey, I didn't even check if she had a pulse. We need to figure this out." This time, the autopsy was conducted under the watchful eye of the local authorities. It revealed the grim truth. Zona's neck had been broken and her windpipe crushed. Clear signs of strangulation. Yeah. The discovery of several bruises around her throat confirmed that this was not a natural cause of death, and this was not, what do they call that? The fainting? What was that?
Something fainting.
Everlasting fainting.
Yeah.
It sounds so romantic. It's so weird how they describe things back then. This confirmed that it was a brutal murder. With this evidence, Edward was arrested and charged with the murder of his wife. The trial of Edward Shue started on June 22nd, 1897, and quickly became a paranormal sensation. The eerie nature of the case, with its mix of forensic evidence and ghostly testimony, blurred the lines between the natural and the supernatural. They technically only had circumstantial evidence against him, and the court didn't officially recognize the ghost testimony.
Of course.
But Mary was able to testify about her sighting of the ghostly visitor.
That's like Bud, bringing Bud in to testify.
Right.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
So with this physical evidence and Edward's suspicious behavior, painted a damning picture. In the end, Edward was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, and he was sent to the West Virginia State Penitentiary, where he eventually died 8 years later from illness. Zona's story became known as the Greenbrier Ghost and remains one of the strangest tales of ghostly justice in American history. A chilling reminder that sometimes the past refuses to stay buried, and that justice, no matter how spooky, can reach us from beyond the grave.
She was a friendly ghost.
She was a friendly ghost. Today, when you drive into Greenbrier County, you will see a town sign before you enter, and it says, Greenbrier Ghost. In a nearby cemetery is Zona Hester Shue. Her death in 1897 was presumed natural until her spirit appeared to her mother to describe how she was killed by her husband Edward. Autopsy on the exhumed body verified the apparition's account. Edward was found guilty of murder and was sentenced to the state prison. only known case in which testimony from a ghost helped convict a murder. That is like a fascinating story.
Yes. That is cool. I'm really surprised I haven't ever heard of that. I'm sheltered.
So I got some things for you to watch. I got 3 documentaries and 3 movies. So
yes,
here are some documentaries about the Greenbrier ghost. Number 1, the Greenbrier ghost, the haunting tale of a spirit solving her murder. This is on YouTube. The next one is American Hauntings, the Greenbrier ghost. Number 3 is Zona's Story, The Greenbrier Ghost. And I watched this and it's pretty good. It's a documentary that recounts the tale through dramatic reenactments with expert witnesses. 3 movies based on the Greenbrier Ghost. The first one is The Greenbrier Ghost, a proposed independent film that explores the trial and supernatural elements surrounding Zona's death. Number 2, The Ghost of West Virginia. So although primarily a documentary, this film uses cinematic techniques to dramatize the haunting tale of the Greenbrier ghost. And number 3, the Appalachian Ghost Stories, The Greenbrier Ghost, a short film that portrays the ghost story as part of a collection of an Appalachian supernatural tales. I watched this one too. It's pretty good. They're all good. I mean, it's a mysterious story.
Yeah.
It's in there, it's got it all. You can be a skeptic too with the story. Like you can say, why did the prosecutor believe Mary Jane? Why? Because a man, Dr. Knapp, admitted he did not do his job. So he took it seriously at that point. Oh, if you're telling me this, okay, then we'll handle her hysteria.
This woman's she's
just crazy.
Hysterical. Give her some morphine. Right. Give her some laudanum.
And give her a lobotomy. So Mary Jane could have lied about the house. Like she could have, okay, maybe she didn't go in, but you know who did probably go into that house? Miss Martha, the neighbor, Anderson's aunt. So maybe she was like asking questions. Oh, well.
What did you see when you went in?
Right. And she put it all together and she knew he killed her, but she had to make it stick.
Yeah.
Back then, you remembered details about other people's homes because there may be a time where you need to borrow something. So I think Miss Martha would know where all the tools were hidden or what the basement looked like. And let's just say if you wanted to be a skeptic, you really could pull apart the whole thing. But it really is just like it's heartbreaking. I feel bad for her. And if he did it, which I think he did do it, and he just didn't realize that the trial would listen to a ghost. I don't know. But yeah.
Well, a ghost-ish.
That was my story. That was my...
That's cool. Fascinated. I'm fascinated. That's really interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
Very cool.
So that's it. That's all I got for you today.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Well, chatters, guess what?
What?
You got one more episode left.
That's right.
Our season finale.
Yes.
For season 3. We're so close to ending it all, and and not ending it all.
Yeah.
Ending this season.
Right.
We're so close to ending the season, but we do have one more surprise in store for you guys. You'll have to tune in next week to find out what that is.
Yes. And because we don't leave you hanging, for more information on this case, please check out After That Crime Chat, only available on Patreon.
Don't forget to follow us. Even though we will be breaking in between seasons, we'll still be in on all the socials, pushing out some extra bonus stuff in between. Follow us on our socials. Make sure you know exactly when that's coming out. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube specifically, TikTok, X. See what we got going on.
Yes, and remember, Crime Chat with Nat and Kat. When you become a VIB chatter to our Patreon, you'll have access to bonus episodes, behind the scenes, bloopers, and free merch. And check out some merch in the works, especially for now season 4.
It's almost like Thor. 4. Yes, check out our next episode. It is our season finale. Huge surprise coming.
Yes. You don't want to miss it.
I'll be there.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Will you be there?
I will be there. I will be there.
I'll be there. Bye, chatters.
Bye.
Bye.